Again, I put Stefan Fry above Sebastian Giovinco.
Whoa.
Because of Champions League, or what is that?
Dude, he's won everything. I put Kai Kamara. I put Wando.
Kai Kamara over Sebastian Giovinco. I'm sorry. That's my striker right now, but fuck no.
The thing is, what I think for me, what gives Giovinco this top 10 list is he was a pivotal role in winning the treble. The only team to ever do that. Big ups to him. The thing is being in the top 5 is a bit of a stretch for me. Maybe in the lower half of a top 10. Because again, there's better, and I'd argue Diego Chara as well, another player that should be in this list higher than him.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is a brand new show, Wake Up MLS, the MLS themed show where the only thing more important than your ball knowledge is your ability to defend your picks. My name is Jose. I am the primary host of this show, and I'm going to tee up my esteemed panel of co-hosts right now. Let's go and introduce them, guys. We have our very first creator, our boy AJ. Major Atlanta United fan, creates a ton of content for that team. I'm sure you guys have seen his channel if you're an MLS fan. AJ, your picks are in. We got a lot to talk about today. How are you, my man?
I'm doing fantastic. It's amazing to be here.
Yeah, bro. I'm excited that you're here. We're going to tee everybody up here in just one quick second. Next up on the list, he is a Chicago Fire fan, a Twitch streamer extraordinaire. Man, he's got some hot takes for today. We're gonna see what he's all about. We got our boy John in the stream today. John Rivera, how are you, my man?
Good, I'm doing good, man.
All right, bro. Let's get it, man. I'm excited. All right, next. What is there to say about this guy? From the Pac Northwest, truly embodies everything there is to love about Seattle Sounders, both good and bad. And in all honesty, man, I have a feeling there's going to be a ton to both love and hate from this gentleman. We have Xiao Yan, a.k.a. Next Generation Football, a.k.a. Rave Green TV. How are you, my man?
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, bro. We're excited that you're here. And finally, last but not least, boys, we do have, man, he's got to be sweating and dying down here in Texas like I am. In all honesty, man, he is our in-house resident Austin FC fan. We have Ednan from We Are Austin TV here to offer his take on MLS. Ednan, how are you, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Feeling verde. Let's get it.
Feeling better. I like that, bro. I like that. All right, man. Boys, everybody knows why we're here, but the audience does not. So let me go ahead and tee up how this show will work. As I mentioned before, the only thing more important than your ball knowledge on this show is your ability to defend your picks. So how this show works, we have a top 5 on the agenda for today. Top 5 best players in MLS history. There's a 25-year history there to kind of unravel. And how it works is every co-host that you see on the stream today has already submitted their picks to me, along with other content creators who are not on the show today. They will feature later in the season. And how it works is we've ranked at each one of these picks that have been submitted from 1 to 5. 5 being the high end. If your number 1 pick was XYZ player, that player has 5 points. Second place has 4, third place has 3, and so on. And what we've done is we tallied up all the points. We've put the list together. We have a top 5 ready for you. And we also have our honorable mentions for today. We're going to jump into those first. All right. So I'm going to put the first names on the screen as they were submitted, as the points were tallied up. And I'm also going to unveil who had this player on their list. All right, boys. So let's go ahead and jump in. I got a feeling that some of these picks, man, they're interesting. I feel like some of these were shithousery picks and kind of hot takes, but we'll dive right in. We'll kind of go from there. The 5 that did not make this list, and I want to talk about it. I want to go kind of player by player here, get everybody's opinions, where you kind of rank this player in MLS history. The first one's a doozy right off the bat. Clint Dempsey as our number 5 honorable mention, did not make the top. Xiaoyan, I want to start with you, bro. I think you're the in-house, of course, Sounders expert here. The guy repped your colors through and through. Where does Clint Dempsey rank for you, bro?
I mean, for me, I think Clint's best years were at Fulham. I think we can all agree with that. And I think that's what makes him the greatest American player of all time, because he was so successful in Europe. He's the only player to be a candidate of winning a golden boot in the Premier League. I don't think we're going to really ever see anyone like that ever again. And for me with Clint, I think a big thing that kind of is a big damper on his MLS CV was obviously he had a good couple of years at New England, then went to England, then came back to us. But the year that Seattle were like the most successful, winning MLS Cup 2016, winning MLS Cup 2019, in 2016 he had the heart issues, so he wasn't really a part of us winning it. And he was kind of out for a little period of time, then came back in 2017, 18. We didn't like win anything those years, and then he retired. So, and I think because of how much MLS is leveling up, and it's also Dempsey's ability of always like he's a goal scorer, sure, but you know his stats aren't insane in MLS. So I think it's fine.
But he's U.S. glory though. I mean,
Yeah,
like, literally.
but for Fulham, he's Fulham USA glory. That's the thing. When you think of Clint Dempsey, you think of Fulham. You don't think of Sounders.
That's fair. That's fair. And look, he had that time with the Revs as well. Look, I think he's first off, this was Bali's pick, boys. This was Bali's pick. Anybody who tunes into the Top Flight podcast or even We Are Austin TV knows Austin FC fans know who Bali is. And I'm not sure if Bali was trolling or if he legitimately thinks Clint Dempsey's top 5 all time. Ednan, you know best, bro. Like, speak up for your boy.
Man, ever since I can remember, Bali has had a Clint Dempsey Seattle Sounders throwback jersey. And I always wondered, why does he have this jersey? Why does he have it? And he's always said that he's one of his favorite players.
Yeah. Look, bro, I mean, Bali knows ball. I mean, Austin FC fans, there's so many predictions. I think even just this past season alone where he's been right. I don't know if nobody else really had Clint Dempsey that high. He had him in the top 5. Anybody else think he should be up there? I mean, he's honorable mention. Anybody disagree with this pick? I'm pretty comfortable with it, bro.
I wouldn't disagree with it. No.
Yeah, I feel like he's where he's supposed to be. And with that said, like I said, I think he's depending on when you started watching the game here, especially Major League Soccer, you probably either hold a special place in your heart for him, or he doesn't even come close to your list. It's one of the two. There's probably no in between. So the fact that he made honorable mention, I think, is a huge W for not just Sounders fans but Revs fans. All right, boys, next one up. This one was an interesting one. The streets will never forget Dwayne De Rosario. I think, man, we need a Dynamo fan on this show, bro. I think there's got to be someone that's Canadian that just loves what this man has done, both for club and country. As far as De Rosario, this was the infamous Xiaoyan pick. Had him pretty high, had him in the top 5. Xiaoyan, were you trolling or you really think he's top 5?
No, dude, I think Dwayne De Rosario changed a lot in MLS. I think everyone can agree with that. He was one of the granted, he played in an era of MLS where it wasn't as competitive, but like when you think of D-Ro, he's one of like the greats in the OG MLS days. I wasn't trolling. I have no affiliation with D-Ro. I'm not
except
even
that you're
Canadian.
wearing orange and
but Dwayne De Rosario
here.
But Dwayne De Rosario played for that's the other thing too, is he played for a lot of MLS teams. What, Toronto, DC, Houston, San Jose, I believe. Like, he's been around the block and he was good everywhere he went. He was successful everywhere he went. And I think not only was he made a big difference in MLS, he made a big difference for Canadians playing in MLS. So I think in that aspect, I think he should go down as maybe in one of the top 5. Just for me personally, I only saw the latter stage of Dwayne De Rosario's career, but I truly saw the brilliance of him when I did watch MLS back in like 2012, 2013. I thought he was so good and he was like a really good professional. So for me, that's just someone that came to mind.
No, I don't hate the pick. I think it's one where like new age MLS fans just don't know who that is. I think if you're watching this and you don't know who that is, go look him up now. The guy came up in an era where the Dynamo were dominant, right? A dominant force in MLS in the Western Conference. I think he came up, at that time where, they were hoisting MLS Cup. And I think there were so many players around him on that Dynamo squad. But at the same time, like Xiaoyan said, he's kind of a nomad, right? He's played for more than a few different clubs here in MLS. And at the end of the day, Canadian fans will have a deeper appreciation for him than most. Anybody else hard disagree with this top 5 pick? Not agree, but disagree. Like, I personally think he's maybe on the fringe, maybe top 10, which is obviously where he is now on this list. I don't know, man. I don't know. And on anybody else, John, anybody else hard disagree with Dwayne De Rosario?
It's honestly tough to disagree with the guy that's a 4-time MLS Cup winner. I mean, it's there.
Why didn't you pick him then?
I just didn't think he was worthy of my list.
Man, tough. I'll tell you, man, I think Xiaoyan I thought he was trolling when he submitted these picks to me, bro. I'm not even going to lie. But I think the cornrows and the beard are just iconic, man. I think when you really think about who that man was, I said before, the streets will never forget. Those who remember MLS back then, bro, he's
arguably scored the greatest free kick in MLS history.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I don't know about the greatest. I mean, I think AJ will probably say Thiago Almada has like a fantastic, free kick to throw up there.
Almada's never scored a free kick like Dwayne De. I like Almada, but he's never scored a free kick like Dwayne De Rosario has.
AJ, please defend your boy, bro. Please defend your boy, bro. Please,
I don't know.
Please.
I mean, it's one of those. I mean, okay, I can see the shout for it, but I mean, just this season alone, he's got a pick of the bunch for any free kick that he has scored, pretty much.
The first one alone was practically world class.
It was from the parking lot, like holy shit.
Yeah, seriously. Come on, Xiaoyan.
And that's a big parking lot in Atlanta too. I've been to it.
Exactly. We've talked to each other at that parking lot. It's massive.
Bro. I mean, he's hung up at least a few this season. I don't know. I think for the one that stood out to me was the very first one. But dude, that's a hell of a debate. I think we got to come back to that. Who best set piece takers maybe in MLS history? I think that there's a debate between Rosario and Almada somewhere down that runway. All right, boys. Another one that the streets will not forget. Number 8, I guess, on this top 10 list. The honorable mention number 3, Kyle Beckerman. And Kyle Beckerman, the man with the dreads that, and I think if you're a U.S. men's national team fan, if you're a Real Salt Lake fan, whatever it may be, you have a deep appreciation for this man. And in a number of ways, bro, he never really, from my perspective, never really got, crazy with the shit talk, never kind of went out of his way. The dude just balled. He and in a position that was unforgiving, right? The 6. I think it's so in that era of MLS, bro. I have nothing but good things to say about Kyle Beckerman. He's not in my top 5, but I think that he should be in somebody's. And when it comes to this list specifically, he made 2 of them. So I think that at the end of the day, there's a lot to say about Kyle Beckerman. Boys, is there? I don't know. Why didn't let's go to John really quick. We haven't had a take from him yet. Is there a reason you didn't include someone like Beckerman in your list?
Just didn't cross my mind. Just one of the players that I just forgot. I know of him because of what he did with the U.S. men's national team. I'll be honest, I didn't really watch him in his MLS days, so it's not like someone that was like crossing my mind. I think at the time when I was thinking of my list, I was just thinking about more recent stuff than genuinely like the past. So I think that's why he didn't make it for me. But no, that is a good shout. I can't lie.
Who would you rank higher, boys? Who would you rank? De Rosario or Beckerman?
Oh,
De Rosario. Come on.
De Rosario,
yeah.
Damn, dude. And somehow he just didn't make it higher than Beckerman. What the hell?
The issue is in Beckerman's position. I don't disagree with what you said, Jose, but the thing is there's better DMs in MLS history. That's already off the top of your head, Chara, Alonso. So there's just already too many better ones.
Chara for sure. Alonso was good. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, in longevity, you can't even argue against Beckerman either, right? Or against, I should say, Alonso or Chara, because they both have longevity on their side as well. When I think of this list, I don't know what you guys incorporated. Some focused on recency bias. I looked at accolades, longevity, and did they kind of redefine their position a little bit? With some of these players, that's very much the case. With others, I think it's hard to tell. With Beckerman, I think you're right, Shayan, a little bit. I don't think he revolutionized the DM position. I just think he was highly, just underrated. I think he wasn't talked about enough. I think Beckerman did so much, not just for Salt Lake, but for the U.S. men's national team. Dude, he gave Jermaine Jones a run for his money on the national team. And that's in that World Cup where you can argue we probably should have gone a little further than we did.
And there's a quote from Jimmy Conrad from that World Cup, because and when they played Belgium in the round of 16, I'll never forget that. This was so stuck in Jimmy Conrad's brain. They started Jeff Cameron, who hadn't played the whole World Cup, apparently something like this. And then in the round of 16 game against Belgium, they started Jeff Cameron over Beckerman, and he said that was the biggest mistake they made in that whole World Cup run, and that's what ruined it.
Facts. I totally agree. And not just because, you don't bench someone like Beckerman because of his workhorse rate, but just because why are you playing Jeff Cameron as a 6? Makes no sense. But anyway, boys, not the U.S. men's national team talk. This is MLS talk. So we're gonna go back to the list, guys. This is the first shithousery pick on the list, and we could blame Bali. Everybody blame Bali. Here's the name on the screen. So, boys, he's already an honorable mention and has yet to don the Inter Miami jersey. Bali, what the hell, bro? I get he's probably going to go down. Maybe we don't even know, right? He may just decide that he's ready to kind of just chill, right? Lionel Messi. I mean,
He could.
I know
but
everyone's expecting him to do great things, but do we think he's going to be the Messi that we saw at PSG or even his latter years at Barca?
I think if Apple can keep him here essentially until the World Cup.
If the money's good enough, yeah.
Exactly right, because obviously that probably is the determining factor pretty much right now is how long can he stick around in MLS or want to, or not can he? Like he can play as long as he wants to, obviously, but that's the thing is if he actually plays at every stadium, every game, he would put up some epic stats, no doubt. But definitely a troll pick.
I got a hot take. I think Ibrahimovic will have produced more when it's said and done than Leo Messi in MLS.
Ooh.
I was going to say
find out in like 3 years, but
I was going to say
that's a good take.
My hot take is he's going to end up not producing enough because he's just not going to care.
That's fair.
I don't see where he legitimately, maybe if he's got all his former Barcelona teammates and all this and that, maybe he'll care. But let's be honest here. There's a lot of people that think that just because Messi's coming in this season, Inter's going to do something. I'm sorry. They're rooted at the bottom. That shit isn't going to change. You can bring in Messi, Ronaldo, you can bring in whoever you want. That Inter Miami team is so fucking garbage. It's just not going to make it any better. So,
are you saying that because you guys are kind of duking it out for bottom of the East over there? Although you guys are on a little bit of a bounce, man. You guys are a little bit of a positive bounce.
Hey, listen. We're in a playoff spot right now. We're not that bad. We're not that bad. But,
how long though? How long? As the Fire fan, be real. How long does that last? That playoff spot?
Week. Next week, we'll see. We'll see next week. But no, I just don't see it where he will end up providing maybe big enough numbers to where it would make a lot of an impact. Is it going to affect MLS right now in terms of viewership? Yes, it will. But will that impact stay for even after he's gone? I doubt it. So I don't think he will be as impactful as a lot of people think that he will be.
Yeah, I agree. I would even go as far as saying, guys, he didn't make this list, it blows my mind. But I would even go as far as saying Hani Mukhtar will outperform Messi over that course of time, over a 2 to 3 year period.
I think the notion with Messi coming here, people think he's just going to walk into the league. And I'm not a USA fan. I'm just an MLS fan. People think he's just going to walk into the league and he's just going to butter teams up. Like, even when Messi was playing in Europe, like, he never necessarily did that on a consistent basis. There's moments where he did it, and I don't think
hold on. What did you say? What did you say, bro? Go ahead. Say that again, just one more time, so that I might make sure I hear it clearly. Go ahead.
I don't think Messi's gonna. Yeah, relax. Give me a second. Let me finish, and then we'll talk about it. But I just don't think Messi's gonna walk into MLS and be that great. I think there's another. Like, we've seen many great players come. I get it. It's not Messi, but we've seen many great players come in MLS. Think it's gonna be one of them, for example, Insigne, come into MLS. Think it's gonna be a cakewalk. And they weren't that, and it depends. The mindset matters. It doesn't matter if it's not one of the best leagues in the world. If you don't have the mindset you want to come and play, and I'm not saying Messi doesn't, but he can't just. People are thinking he's going to come here and just absolutely destroy every team he plays. And to add on to John's point too, one man's not going to change a whole team. Obviously, there's going to be other external transfers. Even with Messi coming here, it might change him a bit. But we've seen many teams rooted to the bottom or playing as one of the worst teams in the league by a big name player. It doesn't necessarily change it. But again, I know it's Messi, but it depends.
You're comparing Messi to Insigne. I mean, it's
mate.
I get. No. Listen. But I get where the comparison's coming from, though, because it's not like that. Like, Toronto painted Insigne to be some sort of second coming of Javinko. It wasn't gonna ever be that way, and maybe they thought that, oh, he's Italian, he's good, he had a bunch of good years at Napoli and all this other stuff. Yes, that is a situation, but he's coming to MLS. I don't think he cares. Like, it's that point. How much do you care to keep performing at that level? It's not even that they're not able to. It's just how much care are you putting in behind the performances that you're providing?
Because we've seen players like there's Pirlo's, there's Giovinco's, there's players that give a shit and don't give a shit. Some people like Ibra, he gave a shit for the most part when he came here. Like, that's the thing. There's differences. There's many European players that have come here and been absolutely terrible. AJ, you know this. There's been a couple of players that came to Atlanta, didn't care about it. Same thing with Chicago with John. Yeah. Shaqiri was one of them. And same
He
thing
still
with
is. He
Seattle.
still is. He still is. He still is. Don't say he was. He still is. He still is. Just because he scored
But,
a banger.
okay.
That was a banger though.
Yeah.
Doesn't change anything. It don't matter. He still doesn't care. He walks
So-
around a lot.
Well, this notion that he might not care, it's like he absolutely cares about his legacy. Like that is 100% something
But
that
how-
he cares about.
How
And
much is it going to stain it though? If he doesn't perform,
he's
If he doesn't, okay, let me ask you this. Do you think Ronaldo's lack of performances in Saudi Arabia are somewhat of a stain on the end of his career and his
No.
legacy that he's leaving?
no, I don't think it affects it
Kind
at all.
of.
I think a little bit. I think like a
a little
tad
bit.
bit. It's just like
Yeah.
it feels like he's not going out on top, and he kind of fell off towards the end of his career. That's what it feels like.
I don't
It's
think he
the-
fell off. I think he
It's
got
the
pushed off.
It's the Batman quote. You live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
That's true.
He's 1,000% the villain. But I kind of see AJ's point. I think I think at the end of the day, Messi is arguably right the greatest of all time, and I think that he probably cares more about just obviously coming to the U.S. with his family, having a certain lifestyle that he lives that's not as pressure filled as what he had in Europe, especially the last couple of years. So there's some. Don't get me wrong. There's some legitimacy to that, but I just think that he's gonna find a way to perform.
I think it's disrespectful that he's even considered on this list. That in fact he hasn't even played.
That's
to
fair.
all the other players. I think
That is the best
take
take you've had today. I'll give you that. 100%.
No,
100%.
But okay, so you really think that there was sporting reasons behind going back or going to Inter?
No. I think honestly, I think it was the last resort. That's what I think. I think he wanted to go back to Barcelona, and I think there's still a chance he does.
Right.
I think there's a chance that he goes on loan back to Barcelona, and that's the only way they financially make that work. They give him the last dance, and
this is
he
just
comes
Jose
back to
talking
close
to
his
himself in
career.
his therapy session.
Yeah, it's the Barcelona mindset.
It's the
You know,
Barca talk. It's the Barca
Yeah.
talk.
The Barca
It's Jose-
mindset
I mean,
is
We're
coming
all
out.
on
I can
camera,
see
boys.
this.
Receipts. Keep these
Yeah.
receipts.
I wanna
all right?
say
I can
one
see
thing.
this happening because I mean, yeah, Thierry Henry, same thing. He went
Yep.
back to Arsenal, for that little bit of spell, waiting between, and it's like okay,
Lampard
yeah.
did the same thing.
Exactly.
Beckham did the same thing. I think that there's multiple examples where this has happened, and it's not far fetched. They kept their home in Barcelona. The family loves it there. He would immediately add a little bit of value at a minimum with experience. I just think he's in MLS to keep his legs fresh, to try and compete on a sporting level. But ultimately, I think he ends up going back for one last dance with Barca on loan, and then he closes out his career in fashion in Miami. That's it. That is my.
I want to say
take.
one thing.
But yeah.
I want to say nobody has touched up on the fact that Messi comes in and makes everybody that's average way better. This guy's going to make Joseph Martinez look fantastic, bro. And nobody has even touched up on Tata. I mean, they're getting so many reinforcements. A guy that knows the league. They're going to hit this Inter Miami team hard. And who's going to get all that credit, bro? It's going to be Messi.
You know who he's not making better, though? You know he's not making better? DeAndre Yedlin, bro. I can't watch that guy play anymore, bro. There's no way. He's not making him better.
I get the whole Tata thing, one MLS, with Atlanta, whatever. He's a finished manager, in my opinion. I don't know. I honestly don't want to hear any more talk about Tata Martino after his performances with Mexico. I do not want to hear his name ever in the form of
that's
still
him
bitter.
and
But
greatness
that's
combined.
Mexico.
No,
Still
nah.
completely different animal.
Nah.
That's a completely
How do you
different
go
animal.
from
Yo,
performing-
everyone fails at Mexico.
Wow.
That's
you know what?
That's wild.
That's you know what? As far as that take is, recently AJ's not terribly wrong, but I will say, that's a wild take. I think I don't know, man. 2014 Barca 2.0 is going to be interesting to watch in Miami. That's all we know, right? I don't know. On this list, I agree with Xiaoyan. Guy shouldn't be here, which is why he's honorable mention at best. But bro, someone had him at
Thanks, Bali.
2 in their life. Thanks, Bali.
2?
Thank you, Bali. We appreciate. Yes, bro.
Wait,
2.
Yeah,
That's
two.
insane behavior.
Yeah, I
And then
can't
20
wait for
minutes
Bali to
later.
come on this show, man. It's going to be amazing. All right, boys, and the final honorable mention pick of the night. This one I think should be interesting. Probably a little bit of recency bias in with this one, but he does have a cup to his name. We have Carlos Vela as the number one honorable mention player. Xiaoyan loves this pick. I can tell, bro. I can tell. I feel it. All right. Carlos Vela, boys. Should he be cracking top 5, or is this accurate?
If Carlos Vela is on this list, Joseph Martinez needs to be on this. It just doesn't make any
Well,
sense.
not based on this season, right? Based on previous season with Atlanta, but yes.
Based on previous seasons, yeah, the totality of their career. Like honorable mention, I don't get it. That he's not top 10.
Dude, we have 3 Mexicans in this. Like, doesn't Carlos Vela just irk you? Just makes you mad?
No.
The guy in the prime of his career goes to MLS when he was playing one of his best football at Real Sociedad with Antoine Griezmann. He's like, I'm coming to MLS because I like basketball more than I like soccer. This guy's a joke. He's a one-season wonder. He's not that great.
Griezmann had already left.
Toxic fans right there. Toxic right there, bro. He's
either
a human
way,
being,
though.
bro.
Either way, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I wish more players had the balls to do what he did, to be honest.
Hey, at least he's honest. A lot of players aren't honest about not liking what they do. You know, a lot of we forget that just because they play football, they also have a life outside of football and doesn't necessarily.
Bro, he's not a big game player. He folds in the big game.
Okay.
He folds in the big game. Tell me, how many final goals does he have?
That's wild. Like, to me, it's just like, okay, yeah, he doesn't like football that much. He's not the only player that's never liked football. He's doing this as a job. I mean, a lot of people hate their jobs in general. That's just life.
Wait, have you guys spotted Carlos Vela's final goals? Goals and scoring finals?
Hey, look, if stats were everything, right? How many players would have to crack this top 5? If stats were everything.
I'm not saying they're everything, but he's not a top 5. He's not a top 10.
Yeah,
but you gotta realize though. You gotta realize though. He was influential to the start of LAFC and what they've become.
You mean Chivas USA? Wait, we gotta put the right name on Chivas USA. Can't forget about their legacy.
But yeah, John, I'm not seeing how like he's influential to the start of LAFC, so he needs to be an honorable mention in a top 5
but this is also the team that just won an MLS Cup too. He also did break the record for the most goals in a season. Like
and
that was his biggest contribution.
Yeah,
a really good season. But
all right, so then Camilo from the Vancouver Whitecaps should be here. He had one great season in MLS. Where's Camilo? Let's bring him in. He also played for
Driussi.
Yeah, let's bring in Driussi. He's in the top 10. Let's bring them all in. Nah, dude, I don't want to hear it. Vela's not in this list.
How are you not going to have him in the list? At least an honorable mention, just like they pointed out. MLS Shield. Come on, bro. Fantastic.
I will say this too, boys. Dude, he was picked by multiple creators. Multiple creators had him in the list.
Well, boo to those creators.
Yeah. They're not here to defend themselves. Basically.
Look,
Vela should be.
At the end of the day, recency bias is undefeated. It is like whether we want to admit it or not. Like in the age of the internet, recency bias is kind of undefeated.
I think he's just mad because Joseph Martinez isn't on here yet. Like I think that's why he's mad.
He's not even top 20, Carlos Vela. Like it's just
he might just be top 20 for me. Just might be.
Yeah, and if Joseph Martinez is definitely in the teens.
He's not even one of the greatest to play in LA. There's Beckham, there's Donovan, there's Keane, then there's maybe Vela. There's Ibra, then maybe there's Vela. He's not even one of the best to play in LA's history.
But what about
I'd even put Wando. He's not even one of the best in California.
I'm going to argue with you on Ibrahimovic because that's like Vela. He's had better seasons.
Put Vela in that dog poo Galaxy team that Ibra played in. Let's see what he does.
Nothing. We'll talk about that player in a little bit. But I'm saying like you dragging Ibra with I can reel off his stats alone that are crazy impressive, bro. It doesn't matter. You having a dog shit team doesn't impact your ability to score goals. You know what I'm saying? Like he scored goals, and he has some iconic ones on his debut. That's wild
because he's better than Vela.
I'll give you that, but I'm saying like you making that comparison is wild to me, just wild to me.
Dude, he's better than Vela in MLS.
Yeah, 1,000.
That's the thing. Of course, Ibra is a better player than Vela. Like that's absolutely
and that too.
Better
he's better
career
than him
altogether.
In all
Yeah. But even in MLS, like even from an efficiency perspective, he had. Ibra was legit, bro. I mean, anyway, we'll talk about it. Vela, very controversial pick, but I will say this, man. I mean, he's got more cups than a lot of people on this list. So, with that said, we move into our top 5, boys. I think that the 5th pick, in all honesty, was on everybody's list.
Oh,
but just very, very scattered. Very scattered. I think it really depends on kind of where you were with your consumption of MLS as a fan at that time, it's a really interesting pick. But number 5, guys, moving on from honorable mention into the top 5. First one up, we have David Beckham. Yeah. I think this one is probably the most straightforward pick you could have prior to Messi's arrival, the next biggest arrival to come to MLS, moved to directly from Real Madrid in 2007, probably the biggest media frenzy MLS has ever seen. Should David Beckham not be number 1 based off those things alone?
I had him as number 1, bro. I had him as 1.
Shia, you disagree? Why? Why?
Well, he shouldn't be. Well,
where did you?
He was influential. It's like kind of the same thing with Messi. He was influential in a marketing standpoint. He was also still good in MLS. Don't get me wrong. Like he changed the landscape of MLS in regards to the designated player rule, big players coming to the league, but all because you did that doesn't make you the greatest player to play in MLS.
But he wasn't washed. He wasn't washed. He went back to Europe after that.
Yeah, you went.
Yeah, but he wasn't even the best player on the Galaxy when he was playing there. That's the other thing too.
I mean, Robbie Keane is there. That's true.
Yeah, but biggest impact, sure.
Sure, yeah.
But not best MLS player ever. And yeah, number 1. Explain yourself, man. I don't know. I don't get it, dude.
Number 1.
I had him as 1, but just based off of what everybody just discredited right now, the change, the impact, forever changing this league to what we love, enjoy, and consume.
Best is subjective, boys. Best is subjective.
Right.
I'm just saying, man, what Beckham did to this league, nobody will ever do. Nobody.
Sure, that's
and he's still doing it. And he's still doing it.
But that is impact. That's not okay. So that's probably what we need to define, right? It's also probably a lot of things, right? Yeah, it's stats. It's how many trophies that he's won. It's longevity, right?
2.
He has 2 MLS
Cups. 2.
Yeah, 2. But still, like
we're back to the Vela argument, boys. I mean, he's got the trophies to back it up.
But look at
a lot of players have 2, but there's a lot of players that have 2 MLS Cups. It's not like they're in the top 5.
No, but they didn't make the impact Beckham, man. That's why I think you look at things like tiebreakers, right? You look at if accolades is there,
together, bro.
If the stats are decent, you gotta dude, it's holistic. I'm not saying I had him at 1 because I didn't, but I can see the argument for an MLS fan saying that David Beckham is number 1. That's all I'm saying.
But he wasn't even the best player in the team that won the 2 to 3 to 4 MLS Cups. That's another point.
Like, who was the best player? Who was the best player and why?
Dono. Kino.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Beckham didn't even score in any of those MLS Cup finals.
If Donovan was so good, if Donovan was so good, why did he not go to Europe and do something like Beckham
because he was
afterward?
But the thing is, it goes back to something I spoke about earlier. All because you're good in MLS doesn't mean you're good in Europe. We've seen again plenty of great European players come here and be bad, and we've seen plenty of players be great in MLS and not be good in Europe.
But Beckham got it when he was 32 years old. And then he played for a season before. I think was a season and a half before he went on loan again to AC Milan, and then went to PSG. Like
something like that.
Yeah, I think at that age, and I'm pretty sure Landon Donovan wasn't far from that.
Donovan was definitely younger.
Yeah, so you can make an argument that Donovan had more of a reason to go out there and prove himself if old man Bex was doing it.
Beckham, but the thing is, at that point in Beckham's career, even when he went to PSG for his last hurrah, it was a clear marketing move. He barely played when he was at PSG. And I don't know. I didn't watch Beckham. I didn't caress him like most people did. But like at that point too, low-key, it might have been a marketing move too for AC Milan. Like Beckham was good. He changed MLS. But in regards to a player, the thing that AJ and I keep emphasizing, he was decent. He deserves to be in the top 5, but he's not in the top 3. Done and done. Case closed. We move on.
I think Beckham would be happy to know that caressed him. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Right? I mean, like that, along with the Calvin Klein ads, I guess kind of makes sense.
Maybe it was a reach. Maybe it was a reach.
But I like it. I respect the shit out of it. And on that, look, either way, no matter what, I think most people had him top 5, so it wasn't a terrible pick. So at the end of the day, I think it was a hot take, but not as spicy as most people make it out to be. So I think no matter what, solid all the way around. Number 4. And I think at the end of the day, this guy, in my opinion, what's crazy to me? This is a wild take. I had this guy at number 1, and based on efficiency, but you guys will see it here in a second. Number 4 on the best MLS players in history, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I had Zlatan at number 1. I think that he was the most talented player to ever come through MLS. Talented, pure talent. 52 goals and 56 appearances. You name me another striker that is that efficient with that type of team around him, and I will change my picks right now.
I could name you 4 players that were just better in MLS history than him.
Yeah.
There you go. Change the narrative. All right, bro. So again, my pick, I will defend it through and through. I think Zlatan, what he did in the short amount of time that he was in MLS and then went back to Europe to win more trophies, baller. And it's not like he was just riding the bench, bro. He was scoring goals.
He was kind of riding the bench.
At 41? Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that. At 41. At an age that's years past most players' retirement. Years, bro. He was balling for the Galaxy.
Wando was better. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I agree.
Wando was better.
Wando, BWP, Kai Kamara, all better than him.
You know what's crazy? If
Yeah,
BWP
Kai
is so
Kamara.
good,
Yeah, there you
if
go.
BWP is so good, why did nobody include him on the list? Nobody. Not one person. Not a top 10. Not nothing.
I mean, I didn't include Ibra in my list.
Yeah,
Right.
that's fair. I'm
Well,
just saying. But you right now you have the balls to mention Bradley.
And I
Wright
also would
Phillips,
say
so
Joseph has been a better striker in MLS than Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
not in your list.
Again,
Reaching, brother.
You can't
So-
reach for these picks if you didn't make them, bro. You can't.
because
You can't
I
do
didn't
it.
even have Ibra in my top 50.
I'm just saying. Okay,
Pause.
well, there you go. That's all I'm saying, bro.
Pause.
Ibra is
Jose,
top 5 for almost everybody here.
How many other people had Zlatan on the list?
On the list, 1, 2, 3, 4 people. 4 people had Zlatan in the list.
Four?
Delusional.
Yo, that's crazy.
As the greatest MLS player ever?
Dude,
Yo.
he's not even top 3 greatest strikers in MLS.
I,
He's not top 5.
The
He's not even
tribe
top-
has spoken, boys. The
I'm
tribe has
telling you.
spoken.
Okay. If he had the longevity of a Wando, I give it to you, right? Because goals to
Right.
games, it's going.
That is the one argument against him is longevity. I'll give you that.
Like he
And
doesn't
trophies.
have. I just don't.
Bro,
Yeah,
his team,
that
you said it
too.
yourself, his team was dog shit. I mean, dude,
But
50
I know-
goals and 56 appearances?
he's
Come
pure
on,
skill.
okay.
That's all.
Okay,
Like, it's-
yeah, but you're basing.
He's
it
a
off
striker.
what's-
That's all he needs to do.
You're
That's just
basing it off
literally his
the.
job.
You're basing it off the stat line of him scoring goals. Like
Right. It's 2
What he
seasons in
he was
which
brought in to
Yeah.
do. I mean, what else should I base it off of?
trophies.
He
yeah.
only played in the playoffs
MVPs.
once. My bro has one MLS playoff win. He's
And-
top 5 greatest.
And if we're talking about
Top
this,
5 greatest, 100%.
So,
That's how
David Beckham.
talented he was.
David Beckham
But
had
no
a
one's
bigger
arguing the talent though.
than Zlatan.
Had the stats to back it up.
Zlatan was a great player. Don't
It's-
get me wrong.
well,
but
this is the thing too. Zlatan, he's more again. It's a striker, so it's sexy. It's attack numbers,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But David Beckham, yes, it's like okay if we're counting assists and whatnot, but more or less he is a midfielder. He's a guy that it's back and forth. He defensively, I think that's what you have to account for as well. So that's why it's like Beckerman, those more defensive players, goalkeepers aren't on this list. I mean,
Dude,
It's
I'd argue
baffling
there's so many more players. Chad Marshall, Ozzy Alonso, Diego Chara,
The Chad Marshall pick is interesting.
Nick Raimondo. Like these
Yeah,
are
Nick-
all players that are there ahead of
look,
Zlatan.
boys, I had Nick Raimondo high up in my list, very high. And I think that the keepers get zero love. Look, nobody else, bro. I think one other person submitted a keeper. Like nobody submitted keepers.
You can't, bro.
Yes, you
Be
can.
real.
Bro.
Yes,
Keepers
you
are part of
can.
the game, bro. Yes, you can.
All because your keeper's booty doesn't mean
Oh,
you
okay.
can't
What? What?
Go
Dude,
ahead,
imagine-
reel it off. reel it off.
Stuber?
Imagine,
Stuver
dude,
versus
remember
Stephen Fry. Who's better?
Stuver versus Stephen Fry, dude. Here's Stuver. He's
Alright,
below
yeah,
my
yeah.
dad. Dude, Stephen
tough
Fry
one.
has won. Stephen
a
Fry's
tough
won
one.
everything.
Yeah, it's Fry.
Stephen,
yeah.
That's a tough one. That's a
Stephen
tough
Fry's
one. That's
won
a tough
everything.
one.
He's the only goalkeeper, one of the only goalkeepers to win the MVP award in MLS Cup final. And the
But-
other
but
guy's
you see-
McCarthy.
Exactly. You see the argument you're making for him, right? But nobody added keepers to this list, bro. We've had some amazing goalkeepers to come through MLS. And the fact that guys like Nick Raimondo weren't, dude, Nick Raimondo's stats are actually insane. I think I haven't pulled up.
No. Credit to where credit is due. Nick Raimondo is him in the sticks in MLS. Like you cannot
Bro.
discredit him for that. But I can understand why people wouldn't want to include goalkeepers on this list because is Nick Raimondo by himself winning an MLS Cup?
He kind of
Probably not.
did.
Kind of, bro.
Kinda
Okay,
did.
listen to this. 514 appearances, 223 wins, 1,700 saves and 154 shutouts.
And he won.
That is wild.
No, but to answer John's point, can he
World
help
Cup
like
does that.
single-handedly? Yeah, in 09, he was probably the biggest reason they won it.
How many penalties did he save? There was some crazy record that he had. I think it was that season.
No, he
I don't
saved
know.
the most
Romano's
penalties
wild,
in
man.
MLS history,
Yeah.
and he's
Especially being
5'8", or like
undersized.
5'10".
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jinx.
he's super short.
And kind of got a little bit of a dad bod going on too, for being honest. Man. Like I'm surprised he's as agile as he was, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like disrespectful to put like likes of Ibra and Messi, and like, and when there's players like we're.
So obviously, impact is a part of the criteria that we have not accounted for, and that's clearly what it is. It's like, yeah, you have like 2 season wonders making number 4. It's
The tribe has spoken, boys. As far as this group is considered to the audience watching, our collective pick is at 4 is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. All right, boys. That one's done and dusted. I think the top 3 are honestly pretty damn unanimous. It's just a matter of where you slot them. And so I think this will probably be the debate to kind of wrap up this show amongst us, would be how this top 3 all really shook out. I don't think you can really argue these. Xiaoyan will probably have something to say regardless, but I don't think you can argue them. Number 3 helped his team bring home the domestic treble. Sebastian Giovinco. And I think that this guy, I really can't argue it. Giovinco was super high. He was higher than 3 on my list. He was super high up. I think talk about transforming, talk about doing what Lorenzo Insigne was supposed to do, right? Be that player, that game changer. Dude, how many crazy highlights have we seen from Giovinco in the MLS alone? And now, I mean, granted, he moved on to Saudi and it is what it is, but Giovinco, there's so much to say about this guy. I will say this, though. There were creators who did not have him in their list, interestingly enough.
I didn't have him.
So, Cheyenne, why is Giovinco not one of your top 5?
Again, there's just other better players, man. I've like mentioned a whole bunch in today's video.
Again, we're at this segment of the show. That played his position, bro. Actually, you know what? It doesn't even matter. Attackers in general.
No, I put Stefan Fry above Sebastian Giovinco.
Whoa.
Again,
because of Champions League, or what is that?
He's won everything. He's
fine. But like you
I'd
said,
even put Nick Raimondo.
Nick Raimondo, maybe. Nick Raimondo, maybe. Because I think the longevity.
I put Kai Kamara. I put Wando.
Kai Kamara over Sebastian Giovinco. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's my striker right now, but fuck no.
And the thing is, what I think for me, what gives Giovinco this top 10 list is he was a pivotal role in winning the treble. The only team to ever do that. Big ups to him. The thing is being in the top 5 is a bit of a stretch for me. Maybe in the lower half of a top 10. Because again, there's better, and I'd argue Diego Chara as well, another player that should be in this list higher than him.
Chara has longevity over Giovinco. I think, so just talking about stats and everything he achieved, even from a stats perspective, 68 goals and 52 assists in 4 seasons. And of course, in 2017, helped them lift them being Toronto FC, the domestic treble. And I think, in all honesty, Xiaoyan's just butthurt because it was against the Sounders, 2-0.
It might be that.
That's what
I sense a lot of that, bro. Straight up. I sense a lot of that, man.
We won the first one. What are you?
I'm just saying, bro.
Giovinco didn't even score in either of the final. Giovinco was a ghost.
I don't know, man. 2-0's 2-0. 2-0, as they say.
He didn't score in any of these finals that we're talking about.
Lie.
You said Kai Kamara, bro. I'm agreeing with John. I don't think that's not anywhere close to Giovinco's status. I think Giovinco is one of the best players to have easily ever come to this
If you
league.
tell me Kai Kamara in his prime or Giovinco, who are you taking for the fire? Obviously, I'm taking fucking Giovinco. Come on.
Yeah. It's no brainer, bro. And he came directly from Italy, man. And granted, now looking back at it, there have been plenty of players to do that. But bro, to leave Turin and come and do it in Toronto, I just think that I don't know, bro. There's a lot to say about that. He balled.
I just don't think he should be this high on the list. That's all. I don't say he doesn't.
Where would you put him?
Maybe like 7, 8.
Oh, he's top 5. He's top 5, bro. He has to be top 5.
For me, it's like the likes of like Wando, D-Ro, Kai Kamara, Diego Chara, Chad Marshall, Stefan Fry, Nick Raimondo. They're a lot higher on the list. Beckham, they're just higher on the list for
Beckham,
me.
Wasn't he arguing for Beckham not to be on the list?
No, I said Beckham shouldn't be in the top 5. Or no, I said 5 was fine. I said he shouldn't be any higher than 5. That's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't disagree with most of the players that you named, except for Kai Kamara. It's just he's a longevity guy, but in terms of anything
But he was
else.
so good everywhere he goes. That's
No,
what's so
like,
amazing.
His
I'm
teams
not
are
going to
pretty good everywhere
discredit
he goes, for the most
even
part.
at the
What?
age he is now.
No, not every team he's gone to is good.
No, not every. I said for the most part. I said for the most
Listen,
part.
he's
but-
with us. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
We're
I
good.
left the fire. I was
listen,
talking more about other teams in the East.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say, listen, even okay, I'll give it to you like this. Kai Kamara at his age right now, has he helped us and has he scored goals for us? Yes, for sure. He has been impactful, but I just don't think that even though he's had that longevity, I don't think he's better than Giovinco. It just doesn't that I'm sorry, that's just not the case.
Okay, wait. Question then. Would you guys? This is I could care less because he's not one of my favorite players, but Sounders fans think he's the greatest to ever do it. Would you rather have Giovinco or Ladero?
Giovinco.
Giovinco, man.
Giovinco.
Yeah, dude.
That's
Giovinco.
surprising.
Narrowly Giovinco. I like the Lodero look. I honestly, man, as a Sounders fan, I'm surprised you didn't include him anywhere in here. But
I know.
Nico
I kind of
Lodero-
forgot. I think
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh, geez. And that's your team.
Oh, man.
it's because of like how badly he's fallen off in my opinion these past couple
But
years.
at
That's
his
just
height, man,
killing me.
Lodero was actually a baller. But I
That's what
still think there was like, especially Giovinco's first 2 seasons, it felt like magic. It felt like MLS wasn't anywhere near his level. He made it look easy, just so easy. And then again, made history similar to how the Sounders did with the Champions League, but made history with Toronto. I don't know. I think it's just.
See, and then that's maybe the difference between Ladero to Giovinco because Giovinco had the chance to win the Champions League, didn't. Ladero did. And Ladero actually has more MLS accolades than Giovinco. Granted, he's played a lot longer, but that's my
Yeah.
point. I think longevity does play a part. That's just me, though.
But if
I
they
think it
choose
really
to
does.
stay in MLS, does it really carry that much weight?
Dude, he went to Saudi, like where in the Middle East. Like,
He
come
got
on, he
paid.
didn't go back to Europe.
I can't get mad for anybody.
Yeah,
who
but I heard
takes
there
the
was
bag.
also some
I mean,
issues behind the scenes with Giovinco at the end. That's caused
And that
him
was
to
the same
leave.
thing that happened with Juve, I believe. Like he obviously that's just the Giovinco thing. He didn't go on to greater heights like Ibra did, for example.
or Bex.
Yeah, exactly.
X.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
just think Giovinco's just too high for me. I don't say he doesn't deserve to be in a top 10. He's just too high. I just think there's too many better players. Again, just kind of just discrediting players that have done it
Yeah,
for
but
longer,
that
been
Kai
more
Kamara
successful.
that Kai Kamara take is wild. Don't take that.
yeah,
That's
I
fine,
will
that's
say
one-
that. I will say
The
that.
thing is, that's one bad miss from like the many others that I feel like you guys deeply do agree with that I've mentioned.
Maybe.
See, exactly. You just can't
Maybe.
admit it. That's fine.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Either way, I think we can all agree Giovinco was a baller. MLS benefited heavily from having him just in the league, just him running rampant. I'm honestly pissed that he played for Toronto, not somebody else. But at the end of the day, the guy made history, and I think I personally believe he deserves to be top 3 in MLS history. It just purely off of his stat line alone is wild. Now, speaking of stats, moving into our top 2, I mean, every record in the books belongs to both of these guys. There's no other way to kind of hype them up. Everybody knows who they are. If you followed MLS for even a small amount of time, you've heard these names before. Number 2, Chris Wondolowski. Not number 1, which I thought when I messaged the group and I asked everybody for their list, I don't know why I thought Wando was going to be number 1. I just kind of felt like he would be. Tried and true goal scorer. The amount of sheer goals that he had as a member of the Quakes is just insane. I mean, the guy is MLS royalty through and through, but he did not make number 1. And based on everybody's submissions, Chris Wondolowski, in fact, was left out by 2 people. So
And those are probably one of the 2 people that put Ibra in the top 5 or whatever.
no. First off, I had Ibra in the top 5, and I also had Wando in my top 5. So
Oh, never mind.
I had both. But again, I also look at things like the efficiency of scoring, which I think is highly underrated. I think it's if it was easy to score that many goals, everybody would be doing it, and they're just not. So with that said, Chris Wondolowski, why is he not number 1? Let's start with Ednan.
Honestly, bro, I'm gonna use the excuse that somebody used earlier. This is one of the guys that I kind of forgot, bro. And I know it's weird to get somebody like him because this, such a big name, but just one of the most recent memories that I have of him is that miss. Like it's just it's tough to it's tough to look over that. You know what I'm saying? And it's a bit unfair. It's a bit unfair.
It is a little bit unfair, actually.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just the most recent memory that a lot of people have, and that's probably one of the reasons why he didn't even pass through my mind.
What about the record-setting year?
It's the reason why he doesn't make it is I don't think he's won an MLS Cup. That's
exactly.
He
He's
doesn't
not
have
a
that many
winner.
trophies.
But his stats are wild.
It's
Like,
just
they're
it's kind of like
insane.
it's kind of like the Totti thing. Totti played at Roma his whole career. Sadly, didn't win that many trophies, and obviously will be a Serie A great. But he's gonna just kind of be that number 2 or number 3, and that's where Wando is. And I think everyone's cool with that.
Like the legacy pick
That's
that's just, never really the top dog, always kind of the bridesmaid,
First
never the
good
bride.
take.
Yeah.
First good take.
First good take. Damn.
First good take tonight.
Yeah. You know
First
what,
good
man?
take tonight.
I think
Carry
AJ.
I'll give you credit, bro. That is not your first good take. That, I mean, maybe your second or your third, but I think this was solid take. Solid take.
Say it, Sean. What were you about to say?
No, nothing. I was just gonna say AJ is like the only one that I think, and John somewhat, are the only ones that kind of see what I see. And then there's just Jose and I know in this instance.
This is I put him at 2. I personally put him at 2 because I just don't like. Yeah, the trophy, not having a trophy also does play him at it, but he does have the record for the most goal scored, so that also does play into account. Like, no one could knock his goal scoring ability, but I just don't think he didn't do enough to deserve that number 1. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just not much there. It's just the goals, you know.
It's like if you think about, you made the Totti example. I think about someone like if Harry Kane goes on to break the record in England, but never goes on to win a trophy, right? Like, would we ever be able to put him as, like, let's say the number 1, even the best striker in the history of the Premier League? Mm-hmm. Could you?
I think you still would. I think you still would.
I think it just depends. Like, if Haaland gets close but has 3 or 4 more trophies.
If Haaland gets close, he's already got a Champions League. It's done, dusted. That's
a treble and everything. Yeah, that's fair. That's an argument for another day. But I think, I think Wando. That the only thing you can hold against him, is his accolades, and it's unfortunate, man, because he needed. Bro, imagine if he had 1 or 2 insane pieces around him, like just someone to help him get over that hump. I don't know, man. We could be talking about living in a world where, he is the best player to have ever played in this league. But I do agree with you, Xiaoyan. Despite what you think, I agree with you. And I'm not pushing this agenda against you, bro. I love your takes. I love Xiaoyan, bro. I love Xiaoyan. All right. So with that said, we have the number 1. Everybody knows who it is. We're not going to delay any further. The guy is MLS royalty, is U.S. men's national royalty. He is LA Galaxy royalty, and that is Landon Donovan. The MLS MVP trophy is named after him for good reason. The only knock against this man, and the only reason he is not lower in my list, is because we're talking about MLS specifically and not like just legacy holistically. I think the knock against Landon Donovan is just he never went on to go do something anywhere else. In fact, he flopped when he did, whether it was Bayern, whether it was Everton, whether it was who was it in Mexico? Was it Leon?
Leon? He was awful.
John knows. Like, so
God,
I think
awful. He didn't fit.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where, like, should that weigh against him a little bit?
No, not for MLS. No.
Yeah, we're talking about greatest MLS player ever, and that's It just
if we were talking about players to come out of MLS, then he would not make the list. But yeah, it's MLS in general. He stays number 1. I think the accolades, the trophies he won, like you can't discredit any of that. So
if Donovan had played in this era, not in the era of yesteryear, would he still be number 1?
Probably not.
No, you probably wouldn't have as many trophies. But stats wise, longevity, can't take that away from him. So.
Yeah, I mean, this one's probably the most boring pick of all, just because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't think you can even argue against it. It's the guy has literally won everything there is to win in this league. Granted, he's had some fantastic teammates. He was part of the biggest MLS brand for a long period of time. And now
Stephen Fry has won everything you can win in MLS. Technically, Donovan has not.
I mean, that's fair. In MLS, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's over here counting a Mickey Mouse trophy against Pumas. I don't know if you can count that. It's a Mickey Mouse trophy. You played Pumas, dude. I don't know. I don't know. We played you guys in League Cup and you guys lost to us. That's all I got to say.
Calling the Champions League Mickey Mouse.
I think he's calling the team Mickey Mouse.
I'm calling the team a Mickey Mouse team.
I think at the end of the day, I'm inclined to kind of agree with Pumas suck, bro. If we're being honest,
you played probably one of the worst, biggest teams in Mexico to win your Champions League. That doesn't really count. I don't know if I count that. I don't know if I count that.
the only MLS team to have ever done it.
Yeah,
So
because you played
that's
the only Liga MX.
Who did they play the round
stupid enough to lose?
Who's the team they played in the other in the semifinal?
Didn't they
Pumas?
beat Cruz Azul, didn't they? They
Yeah,
came back on them massively.
Yeah,
No,
but it's Cruz Azul. That's
I
two
think so.
bottle teams. I don't know who you guys are going with. You're making,
but it's not like
point
Seattle
even-
didn't beat big Liga MX teams. Again, I'm not one of those Seattle fans that meat ride the CCL trophy. I was just saying in regards to a player that's won all the accolades. But to say that,
if we're gonna discredit trophies as well, I mean, should we discredit the treble for Jovinko? I mean,
No, we're not doing that.
No,
yeah, because of the
honestly,
Canadian
no, we're not doing that.
championships.
We're not doing
Yeah,
that.
if we're going on John
Exactly.
behavior, then we might as well.
I'm just saying, who did you play for that fight? I don't know. I don't count it. I don't know. That's just me.
I will say this:
That shit don't count.
if you fast forward to this past Champions League final, right? I think Leon looks significantly better, looked like a true representative that deserved to be in the final. Granted, they probably threw the league like the Sounders did when they won it, but
No, we threw that playing game for sure because there was no way we were going to be able to fight that battle with two fronts. We did not have enough depth for that, but we played it smartly enough to where we knew that we had the final. Go for that. We had never won an international trophy. It's the first one that we won, so it made sense.
Now
Sounders did the same thing.
Now it matters. Now it matters when
We did it against LAFC. We made them look like kids. I don't know. We made LAFC look like kids, and we dominated, dude. And it's not like
they still haven't come back. They still haven't came back.
they're still recovering,
after
bro.
the ass whooping that we dropped them, they still have not come back. That's true.
FC Dallas is in shambles, and they beat LAFC 2-0. Yeah, bro. I think it's But with that said, I kind of agree with Xiaoyan. I think that we can't really discredit the trophy. Otherwise, we discredit every team to have ever won it. So I think at the end of the day, it's I don't know. The Stephen Fry versus Landon Donovan comparisons.
No,
really
I'm not saying that. I was just saying.
That's
You said he won.
mad.
No. That's not what I said. No. Don't put words in my mouth. I was just saying in regards to a player that has won everything. Stephen Fry has. I was just saying. I was just throwing it out there.
So we get it. Xiaoyan believes Stephen Fry is the Landon Donovan of goalkeepers. Okay, so that's fine. Maybe that's the take. I don't know.
That's the other thing too. You brought up the whole thing with Donovan being named after the MVP award. Isn't Chad Marshall named after the Defensive Player of the Year award or whatever?
Maybe, but that's not the MVP. MVP is literally the most valuable player in that award.
I know, but
is named after
defenders
Landon
don't.
Donovan.
Defenders
Yeah,
don't.
Defender
have
could
that.
win MVP.
I didn't even
that's
know
the
the
thing.
defensive MVP award was called. To be honest,
I-
did anybody else
It's
here
just
know?
defensive
Did
player-
anybody
it's
else?
just defensive player of the
It's
year.
just defensive player of the year. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying there's a few players that I definitely feel like we should have been in this top 5 that we didn't even mention.
Kai Kamara? More
Kai
deserving?
Kamara
definitely makes the top 10.
Was 13. So here, and now that we're kind of wrapping up this list, guys, I think that the way I'm going to wrap the show up is kind of talk about the names that weren't included. So here is the short list of players that narrowly did not make the honorable mention list from top to bottom in order: Nick Raimondo, Carlos Valderrama, MLS heritage, Kai Kamara underneath Carlos Valderrama, Xiaoyan, Diego Valeri, which I think was an interesting pick. I think Valeri was a good shout, but beneath Valeri was Joseph Martinez.
That's sad. That's so disrespectful. The fact that we had like Giovinco and who's number 4?
Number 4 was Zlatan.
Yeah, dude.
Zlatan.
No.
Yes. I love it. I'm here for all the banter, boys.
The fact that Valeri is not in the top 10
Yeah, that too.
doesn't
That's
make
crazy.
any
and
sense.
Vela was, boys. Vela was interesting.
Doesn't make any sense.
Hey, Vela makes it that trophy counts. It's just too bad that he had to get whooped for that final, but that's all right.
Yeah.
If he would have won the Champions League, do you guys would that matter? Would that
Yes,
would
of
that
course.
affect us more?
Yes, of course.
So then he
So
would have
is he
solidified.
is he top 5 or at least top 10 at that point?
Yeah.
I think he narrowly's outside of the top, like maybe like top 15, top 20, like I said, but he's just not a top 10. There's just
Okay, so
more.
what if he goes on to win another one?
He's not winning anything more. It's
We
done.
don't know. We don't know that. I'm just saying for argument's sake.
He's
LAFC
thinking about-
could, but they could
He's
find a way to
thinking
figure
about
it out.
basketball. He's thinking about basketball. It's over.
Beneath Joseph Martinez was Hani Mukhtar. And I think that
That's
to me, one of the most underrated picks. I think that, look, guys, listen.
I don't get that. I don't get
I
it.
don't understand Mukhtar. I get he's a
It's
good
too
player.
early.
I get, but no.
If he
Hasn't
wins the
done enough.
MVP this season, he will do something that's unprecedented in this league that nobody's ever
Back
done.
to back. Actually,
Back
no,
to
someone
back.
has. Someone
Yeah.
has. Preki.
I was gonna put Preki on the list.
Yeah,
Oh,
Preki
maybe.
has.
Okay. Either way, no matter what, very few players. I mean, anybody in this list definitely doesn't have are the back-to-back MVPs, 56 goals and 35 assists in 3 MLS seasons, one of those being COVID, and statistically accounts for over 70% of all goal contributions for Nashville by himself. Assists, goals, everything. Literally does it all for his team.
To be fair, you look at that Nashville team. Who else, attacking wise, do they really?
No, I agree with you, bro. It's like Ferrer with FC Dallas, but you still have to do it. You still have to score the goals. You still have to make the assist. You have to be out there doing it.
Needs to win a cup. Needs to win a cup for me.
Exactly.
Needs to win a cup.
There's not longevity.
Having him on there though, man, I think it's not a terrible take.
He's like your D-Tech Giovinco, basically, in this list.
What is it? Just Giovinco has the trophies to back it up? Is that
precisely? No, that is it. I mean, that is it.
Hani Mukhtar was tied on this list with, and this was the most disrespectful for me. I think Jada was disrespectful, not bringing him up there.
Yes,
he was top 10 for me. And then Robbie Keane, mad disrespectful.
That's fine. I don't like Robbie Keane, so I'm. Cool.
You don't like Robbie Keane, but he was legit.
Exactly.
Bro.
Yo, he's a former Spur. I hate him, but
yeah,
he deserves to be in the top 10.
Bro, he carried Galaxy goals wise at a couple different points.
And
man.
even when they were kind of in that dark patch too, he definitely was one of the. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I just don't like him. That's why I didn't put him in mind. That's fine. It's a very reasonable reason.
The bottom 5 of every player that was mentioned, David Villa.
No.
Which I think is interesting. I mean,
no,
he's not in my top 10.
Been marred. I think that's probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
80 goals and 26 assists in 4 MLS seasons with New York. 2016 MLS MVP. And more importantly, I thought this was crazy, was recalled to the Spanish national team in 2016, 3 years after he retired, based on his MLS gameplay.
Again, more like a C-Tech Giovinco moment. Just
okay, bro. We're not. No. I can't, bro. Okay, and by the way, David Villa scored more goals with New York City FC than he did with either Atletico Madrid or Barcelona, and he played for prime Barcelona, arguably the greatest individual team to ever play in 2011. So,
because they had to share goals.
Yeah, I'm just saying, no matter what, he scored a bunch in that year. Atletico Madrid, he kind of was the guy that he didn't really share goals with that team. He had Diego Costa, bro.
Wait, he won that was the year that they won the trophy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He left
Liga.
He left a La Liga winner and then went to New York. Yeah.
I would say maybe David Villa is like a top 10 greatest striker in MLS history, sure.
I'm just saying, I can see the logic. That's all that I'm pointing out, is that, like, I think he deserved a shout, and he kind of got one. So,
top 20.
Okay, bro. Brian McBride was also mentioned on this list. 80 MLS goals. Now, granted, I didn't include him in my list because he is more like a Fulham legacy, in my opinion.
Same thing as Dempsey.
Yeah. I think he did more overseas. But American-wise, not just in MLS, even in college soccer, the guy was an icon. So I just think that, MLS-wise, he did enough to warrant some kind of discussion. The guy that, honestly, old heads everywhere will know that wasn't included in this list, that should have been, Jaime Moreno.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who that is? Yeah.
No.
At MLS, he was, again, old head, DC United guy, 5-time MLS Best 11, 133 goals, 102 assists. The stats are there, bro. And he's won every trophy. Well, that existed at the time, right? He played late 90s, early 2000s.
I was going to try and put in Jorge Campos. I don't know. I think, legacy-wise.
Right? And I think that, look, you put these guys in the league now. That's why I say recency bias is always undefeated, because it's going to be difficult to compare this stat padding versus like what we see in the league now, right? But the guy was a goal machine. And the last two, Cheyenne will appreciate this: Stephen Fry and Chad Marshall.
They both definitely should have been way higher on the list, but
they should have. I wish keepers would get some love, man. And I think moving forward for this show, I think that's going to be the goal moving forward, is let's try to maybe think about every single position and like the impact that those players made. I think in all honesty, guys, this was a fantastic episode 1. Not everybody agrees with the top 5. I'm sure we're going to get flamed publicly. But at the end of the day, I think that no matter what, the beauty of anonymity, right? Everybody submitting their list to me, us, kind of tallying up the scores and just coming up with a group, top 5 or top 10. it's going to make this show and this season very, very interesting moving forward. So before we wrap up, boys, any last shouts? Anybody hard disagree with anything? Your last time to speak up, Xiaoyan, anything that you would change before we wrap up?
Zlatan shouldn't be in the top 5.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Zlatan should not be in the top 5. Nor Messi an honorable mention. What the fuck?
That was worse. That was
crazy.
Worse.
They're both bad.
Messi being an honorable mention. The man hasn't even put on the boots and
though.
stepped on an MLS pitch yet. Like he legitimately, he hasn't even been unveiled. They're gonna unveil probably this weekend. But
he's already grocery shopping.
Halftime.
He's already grocery
shopping. Yeah, I saw that picture on Twitter. He's already grocery shopping.
Yeah, bro. Look, guys, this is an amazing show. I got to thank everyone on my esteemed panel of co-hosts, AJ, John, Ednan, Xiaoyan. Thank you all so much for being on the show. Guys, they're going to be back. We're going to keep doing this week in and week out. We'll have another topic on the agenda. Everything will be MLS themed. And like I mentioned before, Wake Up MLS, the only MLS themed show where your ball knowledge is important, but how you defend your picks is even more so. All right, guys. So from everybody here at Wake Up MLS, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time.